Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey, get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. In a surprise turn of events, the father of the 14-year-old accused of shooting and killing 2 teachers and 2 students in Georgia this week was arrested in connection to this Georgia school shooting that rocked this small community. We have the latest details on this terrible tragedy in Winder, Georgia. We're also learning about the victims, who they are, and details about their lives that we'd like to share with you today as well. Parents of students in the Colorado School District are suing over an alleged policy that forced children to bunk with students of the opposite sex in what they claim is a violation of their right. And Hunter Biden surprised everyone yesterday, pleading guilty to, quote, spare his family the humiliation of a trial after addiction battles. And finally, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety is facing scrutiny over its handling of voter registration following claims from the Republican National Committee and the Minnesota GOP about non-citizens being erroneously registered to vote. We have the details and the latest on that as well.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
What a turn of events yesterday. The father of the 14-year-old accused of shooting and killing 2 teachers and 2 students and wounding many others, Colin Gray, the father of the 14-year-old suspect, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection with the shootings. This according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation in an announcement made early evening last night. In addition to 2 counts of second-degree murder, the 54-year-old Gray was also charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 8 counts of cruelty to children, according to the GBI. He was arrested on Wednesday, but we just learned about the arrest at a early evening news conference last night. The director of the GBI, Chris Hosey, made the announcement.
Shooting here at Appalachia High School, Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a very difficult time, as we know, for students and parents, and so many, I know, of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at various schools around our state. In each of these incidents, police, law enforcement took charges, they made arrests, acted very swiftly, as we take incidents like this very seriously across this state. This is a time for all of us as a community and a state to come together and remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across this state to contact a member of their school faculty with any and all concerns of suspicious activity that they may see. Local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work together around the clock in relation to this incident here and any other incidents that come up around this state that raise concern to the safety of our students, faculty, and citizens here in the state of Georgia. Additionally, Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward.
Hosey encouraged the community to come together and remain vigilant in the wake of the deadly mass shooting. Barrow County Sheriff Judge Smith announced that the 9 injured, which included 2 teachers and 7 students, all would make a full recovery. Smith implored the audience to lift up their community, saying, please keep these children, these teachers, in your prayers. He said, we call them teachers, but I call them heroes. A beloved football coach was one of the victims. He was among 4 of those killed in the high school shooting in Barrow County, Georgia on Wednesday. He was remembered as a leader of men who passed on the old school ways of the game to the children he coached there. Ricky Aspinwall, a 39-year-old husband and father of 2 young daughters, taught math at Appalachia High School, where he was also the football team's defensive coordinator. Mike Hancock, the school's head coach, told the Athens Banner-Herald that Aspinwall was a great dad who loved his wife and their 2 daughters and was also respected in the game of football. He said he worked his rear end off. He coached old school ways, but he loved those kids. It's heartbreaking, really, for our kids, but for his wife and his 2 daughters. Ricky Aspinwall is survived by his wife and 2 young daughters. Mason Schermerhorn last texted his mom. He was one of the students who lost his life. He last texted his mom from the restroom before he was discovered as one of the 4 killed in this mass shooting. The story is this. Ronald Clark stopped by a store on his way home when he learned of the shooting from his wife via a phone call. He is a chaplain and youth minister, so he went back to the school to try to help. He said he rushed to the scene and quickly offered his services to law enforcement at the command post. He said he was instructed to assist crews on the investigative side, and after about an hour, he said he started seeing the students who were hurt. About 30 minutes later, Clark said he began assisting Schermerhorn's mother, who had arrived looking for her son. Clark said it was hard because we were just talking about her kids on Tuesday of this week. She was saying that the bond and the connection she has with her kids is unbreakable. Schermerhorn's mother told the chaplain that she believed that her 14-year-old autistic student was okay. She said, I can't find him. I'm just here to pick him up, but I know he's safe. He texted me from the restroom. Can you please help me? And unfortunately and sadly, Clark took a photo of the teen from the command post where he went through the school and talked with various people and was able to confirm that this was one of the 2 students who had lost his life, in this case, being shot there in the restroom. So the big question from this arrest is, should parents be responsible? The charges against the father of the suspected shooter is an example of a new approach that authorities are using in some areas to try to curb similar incidents. But is this really a deterrent? Could those parents have possibly stopped their child from carrying out this horrible deed? David Gelman is a criminal defense attorney, former district attorney. He said this was done by authorities in Michigan who successfully prosecuted the parents of a teen who killed 4 students using a firearm his parents purchased for him. Now, he's talking about the case of Jennifer and James Crumbly, who were convicted back in April of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced 10 years in prison after prosecutors said that they kept an unsecured gun at their home and showed indifference toward their son's mental health. Ethan Crumbly killed 4 students at a high school in 2021. Colin Gray's case is different because he also faces murder charges, according to a couple of legal analysts. Speculation is that it will be hard to prove murder or to convict this man of murder. But again, could he have stopped his son from doing this? And you got to believe that had he known that his son was going to school that day, taking a gun to that school, that yes, in fact, he would have stopped him. But parents can't control their children all the time, and especially a 14-year-old. So should parents be held criminally liable for the actions of their children? According to the charges, this young man this father had purchased this young man's this gun for a Christmas present back in December. Now, the sheriff and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, they're saying that he purchased this for him even after the young man had been questioned last spring by the FBI because of some threatening letters. And their charge is that these parents should have been watching him more closely, and particularly when it comes to a gun, because he had threatened. He had threatened to do harm to people. But again, would the parents have been responsible if he had, for example, taken their car and hit someone and killed them in a car accident? Would they have been held responsible then? I'm just not quite sure about the idea that parents should be held responsible for a child who takes a gun. And yes, it was his gun. But look, I mean, he's 14 years old. I got my first gun when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old, a 410 shotgun for hunting. So if I had taken that gun and killed someone, would my mom and dad have been held responsible? Just some big questions. Your comments are welcome. You can text me. You can email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900, or go to myphdweightloss.com. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Parents of students in the Colorado school district are suing over an alleged policy that forced children to sleep with students of the opposite sex in what they claim is a violation of their rights. The Alliance Defending Freedom has filed suit against Jefferson County Public Schools. They did this yesterday on behalf of 3 Colorado families who claim the policy keeps them in the dark. So here's the story. Joe and Serena Wells said their 11-year-old daughter was forced to share her bed with a biological male who identified as a girl on an overnight trip in June of 2023. 11-year-old girl having to sleep with an 11-year-old boy just because he thinks that he's a girl. The Wells' daughter said that she found out that one of the students she is assigned to share a room with was a biological male who identified as a female, which she only found out when the student told her as they were getting ready for bed on the first night of the trip. Wow. I would be livid if I had a daughter who went on a school trip like this and slept with a boy because the lunatics in this school district allows an 11-year-old boy to identify as an 11-year-old girl. This world is going crazy. And we have to stand up to this. We have to stop this. And kudos to Alliance Defending Freedom for representing these 3 families. Alliance Defending Freedom is doing some great work. This is not a plug for them other than I admire what they do, but it does cost money to do these types of cases. So if you support what they do, help them out, support them. Jeffco policy states that students who identify as the opposite sex should be, quote, assigned to share overnight accommodations with other students that share the student's gender identity consistently asserted at school. The Jefferson County school policy says, under no circumstance shall a student who is transgender be required to share a room with students whose gender identity conflicts with their own, according to the policy. Alliance Defending Freedom claims the school district tells parents that girls will be roomed together on one floor and boys will be roomed together on a different floor. But what it fails to disclose is that they have redefined words girl and boy to mean a student's self-asserted gender identity rather than sex. So you potentially can send your 11-year-old daughter, which was what happened in this case, to an overnight camp, and she could be required to room with an 11-year-old boy if that boy believes that he's a girl. The Wells has sent 2 letters to the school district asking the school district to allow parents to opt their children out of any policy prior to an overnight trip that rooms children by gender identity rather than sex. They claim the school district denied their request. Because the Wells' daughter was uncomfortable with the idea of sharing a bed with a male student, she snuck into the bathroom and quietly called her father and then her mother. She was reportedly supposed to be assigned to a room with 3 fifth-grade girls. The chaperones reportedly asked the Wells' daughter if she could simply move to another bed rather than a new room. And while she was still uncomfortable, she agreed to try it for that night so that she could get some sleep, according to the Alliance Defending Freedom and the lawsuit that they filed. Later, chaperones on the trip allegedly told the Wells' daughter to lie about the reason why she wanted to switch rooms. Wow. Now these chaperones, I'm assuming that they're parents, maybe teachers. Regardless, they're adults who know better. And I hope that the school district never allows them to go on another overnight trip like this. They shouldn't be allowed to. Encouraging this young girl to lie about why she feels uncomfortable and wants to go to a different room. Alliance Defending Freedom argues that the district refused to give parents truthful, pertinent information about their children's overnight accommodations, which hinders their ability to make informed decisions about their children's education and privacy. Serena Wells told Fox News that parents should have complete transparency from schools on information that directly impacts their children, and they should. She is right. If the school district is going to allow this crazy idea that an 11-year-old can decide that he is a female and expect to sleep in rooms with females, parents should know about this. They should be told up front so they can make the right decision for their daughter. Serena Wells said, "We never thought our daughter would be put in a situation like this, or we would have we'd be forced to ask our own school district to stop hiding information regarding our children's privacy and safety. But the need for transparency and trust towards our school district is critical." She said, "Every child deserves respect and privacy, but that respect and privacy must extend to all students equally, and as parents, we have a duty to make the best decisions on behalf of our children to guide and protect their well-being." Now, the school district, of course, their argument is that this little boy deserved privacy. And I don't argue with that, but not at the expense of the little girls in the group. Again, be truthful, be transparent, and let the parents of these little girls make the best decision for their child. Since the Wells spoke out in December, they say that more parents have come forward with similar reports. At the district's outdoor lab retreat, in which 6th grade students traveled to the mountains for a science trip, a group of middle school girls had a student who identified as trans placed in their cabin without their knowledge or the knowledge of their parents. In addition, a high school counselor, a transgender-identifying female, was put in charge of a cabin of 6th grade boys, which reportedly included monitoring their showers. Folks, this has gone too far. We have to pray that Alliance Defending Freedom is successful in this, and that these types of cases will be pursued around the country and stop this nonsense and protect our kids in school. Because at this age, an 11-year-old boy doesn't need to be exposed to a transgender, to an adult who thinks he's a female, or to a female who thinks she's a male. They're just too young, and it's too confusing for them. You agree? Send me a quick text, email me, joe@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Hunter Biden will not be going to trial after all. In a surprise move yesterday, the first son pled guilty to all charges. The White House was very quick to say there will not be a pardon on the table.
All right, good afternoon, everyone.
From a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Well, is there
I just said no. I just answered. Go ahead. For another year.
You believe her? Or maybe it's not a question of whether or not you believe Karine Jean-Pierre. She's probably just reporting on what she's been told to say. Do you believe the president will not offer his son a pardon? First son Hunter Biden released a statement yesterday after he pled guilty to 9 federal tax charges, saying he did so to spare his family from being publicly humiliated by a trial. Son, if you're concerned about humiliating your family, your dad, you should have thought about that before you went on those cocaine addicted tirades, those drunken stupor parties that you had, where you were walking around with hookers, naked, carrying a gun. You should have thought about those things. And you should have thought about paying your taxes. Of course, he's trying to hide behind his addiction as the reason that he didn't pay his taxes. In the statement, Hunter Biden said, quote, "I went to trial in Delaware not realizing the anguish it would cause my family, and I will not put them through it again. When it became clear to me that the same prosecutors were focused not on justice, but on dehumanizing me for my actions during my addiction, there was only one path left for me." See, he's blaming his actions on his addiction. He's blaming the idea that he just refused to pay taxes on his addiction. And by the way, he never really paid the taxes. Now, the White House will tell you that that he paid his taxes, and everywhere you read anything about this, it talks about the $1.4 million in taxes have been paid. Well, yeah, they were paid by his sugar daddy. Now, should that not be considered income to him? That this man paid him $1.4 million for his taxes? Wonder if he paid taxes on that income. And why would this guy, just out of the goodness of his heart, want to pay Hunter Biden's taxes? What did Hunter Biden do for him, or what is the expectation? His statement went on to say, "I will not subject my family to more pain, more invasions of privacy, and needless embarrassment. For all I've put them through over the years, I can spare them this, and so I've decided to plead guilty. He said, like millions of Americans, I failed to file and pay my taxes on time. For that, I am responsible. As I've stated, addiction is not an excuse, but it is an explanation for some of my failures at issue in this case. When I was addicted, I wasn't thinking about my taxes. I was thinking about surviving. He wrote, but the jury would never have heard that or know that I'd paid every penny of my back taxes, including penalties. I've been clean and sober for more than 5 years now because I've had the love and support of my family. I can never repay them for showing up for me and helping me through my worst moments, but I can protect them from being publicly humiliated for my failures. You may recall that Biden chronicled his addiction in a memoir, Beautiful Things. He concluded his statement by saying, for anyone now going through addiction, please know there's light at the end of that seemingly endless tunnel. I was where you are now. Don't quit right before the miracle. His attorney, Abe Lowell, said in a separate statement that this plea prevents a show trial that would not have provided all the facts or served any justice. They were concerned when the judge ruled in the prosecutor's favor that they could not present as part of their defense a lot of the addiction issues, because that was their plan. They were going to try to talk about the throes of addiction and how that prevented Hunter Biden from making responsible decisions and try to play on the jury's sympathy, I guess. The judge had ruled in some earlier motions that type of evidence would not be allowed to be submitted because it wasn't relevant to why he didn't pay his taxes like most Americans do. Lowell added, there's no doubt this case was an extreme and unusual one for the government to bring. Unlike millions of Americans, Hunter was charged with felonies for his failures that occurred during the depths of his addiction to drugs and alcohol, which he has since rectified by paying his overdue taxes. No, he didn't pay them. Somebody paid them for him. In fact, he says he actually overpaid his taxes in the year he is charged with tax evasion. Well, maybe so, but you found that out after someone else paid your taxes for him, and literally years after the fact. Special counsel David Weiss charged Hunter Biden with 3 felonies, 6 misdemeanors concerning the $1.4 million in taxes that he owed. Weiss alleged a pattern by which Hunter did not pay his federal income taxes while he also was filing false tax returns. In the indictment, Weiss alleged that Hunter engaged in a 4-year scheme to not pay at least the $1.4 million in self-assessed federal taxes he owed for tax years 2016 through 2019 from in or about January to October of 2020. Biden faces a maximum penalty of 17 years in prison. In a press release after this turn of events yesterday, the Justice Department said that actual sentences for federal crimes are typically less than the maximum penalties. A federal district court judge will determine any sentence after taking into account the U.S. sentencing guidelines and other statutory factors. So how many years do you think he'll get? Do you think he'll even serve prison? He could potentially get 17 years in this case. The other case that he was already found guilty on, it hasn't been sentenced yet. I think that was maybe 10 years? You think he'll ever even go to prison? Can we believe the White House when they say that there will be no pardon involved? Judge Jeanine's not buying that story. On the 5 yesterday, the Fox News legal analyst says she believes absolutely he pled guilty, knowing a pardon is the end game.
This is really about bad blood. You had the prosecution and Abbe Lowell, the defense, pretty much in cahoots, trying to pull the wool over a judge's eyes and engaging in a plea deal that gave, immunity in perpetuity, that they had to ultimately stand up and say, we've never done this before in the Department of Justice, who are now at odds with each other, where the Department of Justice is dropping all kinds of negative information in their their delayed bill of particulars about Hunter Biden that impacts his father. And the fact that they are now at a point where they're going in and getting the judge involved, as Andy is saying, in something that judges don't normally get involved in, is they're saying, look, we've got the ace in the hole. I'm not talking to you. I'm not giving you any warning. I engaged in no plea negotiations because I don't need you anymore. I know what I've got at the end of this. And so let me just see if I can get this in an Alford. Maybe they knew they'd never get it. But at the end of the day, what they will do is plead guilty. No one can stop them because they get the pardon at the end.
Yeah.
You agree with Judge Janine? You think the pardon really will come before Joe Biden leaves the White House? It's going to be interesting to see. Is Joe Biden capable of leaving the power that the presidency gives him without pardoning his son? Will he stand by and let Hunter Biden go to prison? He's free on bond until sentencing, which will take place December the 16th. So Joe Biden will know a month or so ahead of time before he leaves office what the fate of Hunter Biden's future is. Congressional Republicans are claiming vindication after the guilty plea. Representative Warren Davidson saying that he believes the plea absolutely affirms the accusations and findings that GOP lawmakers have levied against the first family since before President Biden took office. In a statement, he said it is also a vindication for the whistleblowers, accusing Hunter's defenders of trying to wreck their careers. Davidson said of Biden potentially pardoning his son, I think it would be an abuse of that power for the president to do so, but I think a lot of people will be surprised if Joe Biden doesn't. I agree. I think it's probably will be very surprising if Joe Biden leaves the White House before pardoning Hunter Biden. This comes after a bombshell report from the House GOP, which the White House has pushed back on, that accused the president of committing impeachable offenses by allegedly helping enrich himself and his family through foreign deals. We all know that's what it was all about. That's how Hunter Biden earned the millions of dollars of income that was requiring him to pay $1.4 million in federal taxes to begin with. He was selling access to his father, the vice president. White House Ways and Means Chairman Jason Smith, whose committee is one of the three that was investigating Biden via the impeachment inquiry, similarly said that the guilty plea upheld the testimony of whistleblowers who came and spoke to his panel, saying Hunter Biden's decision to plead guilty once again affirms the integrity of the IRS whistleblowers who recommended these exact charges over 2 years ago before being stonewalled by the Biden-Harris Justice Department. Had Joseph Ziegler and Jerry Shapley not come forward, putting their reputations and careers at great risk in the process, Hunter Biden would have received a sweetheart plea deal for merely 2 misdemeanors. And you think about that, and he almost did get a sweetheart deal, didn't he? He came so close to being able to get away with this. Does it give you a little bit of confidence in our judicial system that maybe he's not going to after all? Send me a quick text, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Hope you'll join the conversation today, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Yesterday, we started a tradition, or restarted a tradition, Thankful Thursdays. Many of you responded. For years, I did Thankful Thursdays on my radio show in upstate South Carolina. And it's just a reminder that there's always something to be thankful for. So I did that yesterday. Many of you emailed me, you text me, you said, let's keep doing that. Let's do Thankful Thursdays every week. So that's what we're gonna do, because it really is. It's a great exercise to take a day and just think about what you're thankful for, regardless of what you're going through right now, or where your life's journey has taken you. Maybe you're out of a job. Maybe you're having a health issue. Maybe you have an issue with your marriage or your children. Regardless of how bad things may appear, you can find something to be thankful for. So moving forward, I'd love to start getting those text messages and emails, joey@joeyhudson.com, and I'll share them with you each Thursday on Thankful Thursday. Jordan says, Thankful Thursdays, I've missed them. In the wake of the horrible shooting at the Georgia high school, I'm thankful for my children. I wake up to their faces every morning, and I can't be more proud to be their father. I hope the family finds solace in this tragedy. Thank you, Jordan, for being one of the ones who've encouraged me to start doing Thankful Thursday on a regular basis. Tony writes on the text line, Joey, I got rid of my Alexa devices when I started getting emails about things I used to talk to my wife about, like when we were discussing buying a car. I got swamped with emails about cars. Wow. You know, I've heard other stories like that. And it does make you think twice about having an Amazon Alexa in your home. A good friend of mine whose name is Alexa, we kind of joked last night at a meeting that we both were in attendance. She's not too happy that Amazon is using her name, Alexa, to talk about all the good things of good reasons why you should support Kamala Harris. Because this Alexa would never vote for Kamala Harris. By the way, I tested it out last night too. I asked my Alexa why I should vote for Donald Trump or why I should vote for Kamala Harris. Amazon now has Alexa giving you the same response, not endorsing either one. Ace writes on the text line, Joey, first of all, prayers for the family and friends of the victims. Second, how in the world did that kid get a rifle in a school? What? Could anyone just walk in? I have so many questions about this. Seems so convenient that this happens right before a presidential election. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy nut. The devil will use anything to keep truth out of office. Have a great day. Thank you, Ace. It is a valid question. How did this kid get a rifle into his high school? I haven't heard yet, and at some point I guess we'll know, because I'm sure the question has been asked. But if this particular school, and if you look at the photos of it, it was a very nice school. This is a small area, but the school looked very nice. I wonder if they had metal detectors like so many schools do these days. And if so, how did he get that gun past the metal detector? Texter Pete says, Joey, the reason Kamala is not talking about her policies is because she's waiting for the highest bidder to tell her what to talk about. You may be correct there. She's waiting on someone to tell her what they're going to pay her to do. Texter, this is Albert, says, in reference to the school shooting, first, my prayers go out to all who are suffering due to this evil act. Second, from what I'm hearing, once again, the FBI has failed us. They had eyes on the shooter, had interviewed the shooter, and determined that he wasn't a threat. Either the FBI is completely incompetent or completely corrupt. I'm learning I'm leaning towards completely corrupt. I believe that the FBI and other federal law enforcement agencies are allowing these acts of violence to take place so that they can promote the Democrats' anti-gun agenda. It's time that the federal law enforcement agencies be held accountable and people fired or prosecuted if they are found to be guilty of corruption. Albert, I hope you're wrong. I hope that the FBI has not stooped to this level and that they're part of this, allowing this to happen because it's a presidential election year. Please tell me that that's not possible. Jennifer writes, hey, Joey, it's Jennifer. Is it me or is Kamala giving the same speech over and over, just changing her accent so maybe people won't notice? Well, she's changing her accent for sure. I still can't get over that. I played that back a couple times this week. I still can't figure out what her accent was in Detroit. Was she trying to be Southern? Was she trying to sound more black? What? She certainly wasn't trying to sound Indian. What was that accent in Detroit that I shared with you earlier this week? If you missed it, go back and listen to, I think it was Mondays or maybe Tuesday. Just go back. If you missed any days this week, go back and listen to them. You can easily do so. Just if you're not a regular subscriber to my podcast, go to joeyhudson.com and subscribe today. Oh, and by the way, if you're not a subscriber to my podcast, why not? Go to wherever you listen to podcasts and search for Joey Hudson, Just the Truth, or go to the Odyssey app because you need to be getting the notifications. Be sure and click on notifications when you subscribe. Texture, this is our inspirational text today from Joel. Says, the world needs dreamers and the world needs doers. But above all, the world needs dreamers who do. God bless. That is so true. Hey, quick update. This was a story that I talked with you about earlier. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety is facing scrutiny over its handling of voter registration following claims from the Republican National Committee and the Minnesota GOP about non-citizens being erroneously registered to vote. This is in Minnesota, where Kamala Harris's vice presidential nominee or running mate happens to be governor. And he's been very clear on how he thinks that illegals should be treated. Kevin Klein, the RNC's Election Integrity Council, and David Hand, chairman of the Minnesota Republican Party, highlighted the case where a non-citizen received a primary ballot without having registered to vote. The DPS Commissioner, Bob Jacobson, responded to the GOP's concern, detailing that the department's Driver and Vehicle Services Division has stringent processes to ensure only U.S. citizens are registered, including document reviews and a secondary verification process. Jacobson assured that a thorough manual review of records is underway to ensure election integrity. Despite this, Klein and Hand expressed dissatisfaction with Jacobson's response. They pointed out that the Governor Tim Walz signed legislation enabling non-citizens to obtain driver's licenses and implemented automatic voter registration shortly thereafter. The GOP officials questioned how non-citizens managed to get on the voter rolls and criticized the timing of the manual review, suggesting it was prompted by their letter. Well, of course it was prompted by their letter. They weren't going to bring this up themselves. And when you have a governor who supports automatic voter registration and believes that illegals should be allowed to get driver's licenses, then what outcome do you think he expects? Of course he thinks that they should be able to vote. And I'm sure he's hoping that they'll be casting a vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, a vote for the Harris-Walz ticket in November. The RNC has demanded more detailed explanations from the Minnesota state elections. And the GOP also urged for greater transparency to prevent potential voter registration issues ahead of this upcoming election. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio to lose weight for the last time. visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.